Welcome back, and now I am joined by our special guest on News Review today, Mr. Momodou Sabally. Welcome to the Fast Network News Review once again, Sabs.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
It's a broad range of issues that I want us to look at today, but first I will start with the issue of illegal/irregular migration, as some people will like to put it, a phenomenon that is well known in our African society. And until and unless we go back to the drawing board to re-examine, the push and pull factors, it might be a very difficult issue to handle, not to stop, because migration has been here since like God knows what century. But what we are seeing right now is the mass deportations that are happening. And Gambians have always accused the government of the Gambia of actually masterminding this by signing deportation agreements with some of these European countries. And yesterday we saw a video surface online where we saw Foreign Minister Tangara and the Vice President Dr. Toure actually signing something, and they're quick to say this is not a deportation agreement. But you are one of the people who said, of course it is. Why do you think it is?
Well, I did not say anything. Dr. Toure and Momodou Tangara went to Switzerland, signed an agreement with the Swiss. The Swiss federal authorities issued a press statement to say that they signed an agreement on migration and aviation with the Gambia. Forget about the aviation. Which plane is here to fly to Switzerland? The only planes flying here are human beings behaving like witches and wizards, trying to bring back young people who risk their lives to get to better places where they can get jobs. So it's a migration agreement. I read that agreement at night. I read it in the morning because I don't want to make a mistake when I'm dealing with these issues. And I don't want to accuse this government of something that's false. Inside that agreement, I'm glad that it looks like Fatu Network finally published it today. They're clearly saying part of the agreement is the identification of Gambians in Switzerland and the issue of return documents. One of the issues that President Jammeh categorically refused to do, even for America, because he was not going to facilitate the deportation of Gambians who risked their lives, sold their families' treasures and land, and traveled for better opportunities that their own government cannot provide for them. So what happened was, what they signed is very clear. It's a deportation agreement signed by Momodou Tangara and Aissatou Toure, who was insulting our young people here that they don't want to work. They signed an agreement to deport young Gambians here. It's out there in the open. It's even on Fatu Network.
Now, I have reached out to the spokesperson of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Sekou Cisse, and
Yes.
he has actually responded. He says government has not signed any cooperation agreement with Swiss authorities for the deportations of Gambians, and they will never do that because they are aware of the amount of support the diaspora contributes to the economic growth of the country.
Let me just cut it there. The fact that you have to reach out to Sekou Cisse to get that information is the very proof that government actually signed a deportation agreement. Sekou Cisse, the communication officer of the foreign ministry, even if Tangara coughs on the phone with his counterpart, he would send a press release and you guys would publish it. Did he deny that Tangara and Dr. Toure were in Switzerland? No, he didn't. Why didn't he send you a press release? Because he knew that they actually signed a deportation agreement. Nothing more, nothing less. That's exactly what happened. They signed the deportation agreement, and Sekou cannot deny that. And by the way, there's a background to this story. There have been accusations left, right, and center. They've tried to tarnish the image of people like my Fati. But it's only in October of this past year, if you remember, that Sankare, the government's town crier, came out openly and said they actually signed an agreement with Europe because one of his reasons, fatuous, vicious, and malicious, he said if they don't do it, the price of bread would rise from $7 to $20. What a joke.
So how about this aviation part? You think that was just a farce?
I think it's a cover-up. Ban aviation, ban plane mo fi nekk pour now. Nit yi ñoo dee now fi government officials comme Duma ñu dem sign agreement pour ñu delloo ay innocent Gambians bi nga xam ne when they are traveling to that place, they risking their very lives. That's witchcraft for me. To go and sign an agreement to deport those people, for me, that's witchcraft.
But another thing we've also seen recently, a very, very sad situation, is the recent deaths of Gambian migrants, especially in Italy.
Yes.
Sabally, what do you expect of government in situations like this?
Well, this government does not care. And now I don't expect anything of them because they've shown us consistently that they don't care about the welfare of Gambians. And it's very sad and heartbreaking that a government that, you remember Adama Barrow, post-2016, there was no single speech that he would make without singling out the Gambian diaspora for their support on social media, for their financial contribution to the so-called struggle that brought about change. Those same people, this government has not lifted a single stick to improve their welfare, to negotiate for them. What they did is some lousy policy document, some migration project by some professor that you never hear about again, calling the diasporas the 8th region. The 8th region will no longer be there because they're signing agreement, they're traveling to deport these people. You're right. We're hearing of people getting mad, actually, mental stress in the streets of Morocco, in the streets of Italy, in Germany, people dying. And this government has done nothing to ameliorate their condition. And I know it is within their power. I've served in government. I know there are limits. But I know the certain things that they can do. They are not doing it because they don't care about these migrants, especially now that President Barrows himself went out of his way to antagonize the diasporans and call them Bafeño because he believes they don't support him any longer. It's a deliberate policy.
Like I said, almost every week we hear about someone dying, and it's always the people out there trying to find the family, trying to find the funds to repatriate them. And when people die, do you think that the foreign ministry could have formed their own team to try to investigate what exactly is happening out there?
No, absolutely. But even before they die, Sayo, I speak to a lot of people outside this country, people who actually care about these young people. With this lockdown, coronavirus and issues, things are very tough, even for citizens of Europe. Talk less of our migrants. Some of them are sleeping in parks. This government made no effort to try to use at least this exceptional situation to negotiate for better living conditions of our people. They don't care. If you don't care for somebody when he is living, do you think you'll care about that person when he's dead? It's very sad and unfortunate. I think the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, they call it Foreign Affairs and Gambians abroad. The second part should be scratched. It's just the Ministry of Foreign Affairs begging and personal interest of government officials. That's the official name of that ministry.
How efficient do you think is the Ministry of Foreign Affairs?
Absolutely, they're totally incompetent, inefficient. Which creative move have you seen this foreign ministry done in this crisis period? And I repeat, especially the coronavirus period gave us an opportunity to reach out to these people. We know the condition of our brothers and sisters there is not good. I mean, the whole world was focused on this. We could have leveraged this opportunity to seek funds, to seek for better arrangements for the living conditions of our young people, boys and girls in Europe and America.
And Sabs, the country definitely have been rocked with one of the biggest drug scandals. And Gambians really seem to be outraged about it, but it seems government hasn't come out to issue even a single word about it. But we will get to that part because because they have not said anything, everyone is flying with their own allegations of stuff. But I want to know, what do you think in your mind? What can you give us a mental scenario of what you exactly think is happening or happened?
My mental scenario is simple. It's a Mandinka proverb. Ninjalo fangosingo be forangakan tantangote kosila. Gewel bi si bopam su tege tankam bi si banta bu ñoo tege sabar bi sabar bobu du tega. The government has the security, they have the intelligence, they have the guns, they have the international cooperation and leverage to be able to tackle these things and to get real-time information and share it with the people. If the government is not talking, people are not getting the information. The people who are allegedly involved are not arrested and detained, then the government has something that we don't know. The sad thing is, Sayo, we all know, I'm not going to make any unfounded allegations against the government, but there are known drug traffickers mentioned in public fora in this country that have a direct access to State House. We know close associates of the president who brought in guns in the hundreds and thousands illegally, and nothing came out of it. Who is surprised? Not me.
If Interpol was not alerted that there's a ship heading to Gambia with cocaine in it, do you think it would have made its way into this country?
I believe if Interpol was not involved, this thing would have gotten into this country and either distributed here or further exported to wherever it was going. But I believe this is just a symptom of the deeper drug problem in this country. I think New Gambia became a haven for drugs. I've always had this concern. I've mentioned it to people who are close to the corridors of power, but their reaction has always been lukewarm, and I actually stopped talking to them. Because they actually, I believe some of them know that the drug trade is much easier now, but they don't see that as a problem so long as some of them are getting funds from it. But this is bad for the young people of this country. This is bad for the security of this country. This is bad for the democracy of this country, because you never know how these drug lords are going to use this money that they are going to make from the drugs.
So rumors are already swirling out there that these drug lords could actually be sponsoring some political parties in this country.
Absolutely, without a doubt. That's why I'm concerned. That's why I said it's bad for our democracy. Because if a drug lord feels comfortable operating within the geopolitical dispensation, that drug lord would want that political entity running that geopolitical entity to stay on forever. I have a feeling that most drug traffickers right now, they would want this status quo to continue. That's what I believe.
You know, a lot of people say that this could not have been pulled off by just an ordinary person. Do you believe that?
Well, the argument is that if somebody is brave and bold enough to bring in cocaine worth $4.5 billion, I mean, drug traffickers, they are not fools. These people are actually usually very sophisticated people.
Yes.
You only do that kind of thing and come through the main port of the country if you have some level of assurance within the system that you will have an easy pass. This is an argument that's plausible. It makes perfect sense to me.
1 week now, no single word
from
the government of the Gambia.
They would send press releases left, right, and center. Moot.
What did you expect government to do in a situation
like
this?
Well, I expected the president to come out with an official statement, not even his spokesman or secretary general, for the government himself, not only to reassure our people, but to reassure the international community that the Gambia will not be complicit in drug trafficking, because it's very dangerous. It has links to many dangerous things, including financing of terrorism.
You've served in government before. What does this mean for our diplomacy?
Well, it's really bad. It's really bad because right now the whole world, their lenses are on us. Like I said, this is not just drugs that is bad for human beings wherever they go, but this is a conduit for financing of other dangerous activities that could destabilize the entire world. So this is bad for us. I think foreign governments, our development partners, would definitely question our seriousness as a nation. They will definitely question our commitment to law and order.
Even though government haven't said a thing, but some leaders of political parties have already come out to condemn what is going on, ask on government to come out to issue a word. And some Gambians are still saying, well, this has nothing to do with politics. You are trying to politicize this. You are using it to score political points. What do you think?
Well, if political parties score political points, so what? They are in the business of politics. It's a political issue. The entity that's running this country is a political entity. The other political entities feel that they are not competent, and if they have evidence for that, they have to show it to the world. Congratulations to all the political parties who came out on this and issue statements, and bigger congratulations for those political parties that actually politicize it, because that's the right thing to do.
So what they are saying is that they've already... No one is in custody, if I can understand. And the person they are saying is in custody seems like just an agent who works at the port, but it seems the bigger fish are not out there.
Well, it's not a new story. What they do is, you know, the drug squad, who I believe they are not doing their job, and anybody that's congratulating the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency for this seizure, you don't know what you're talking about.
Yes, because a lot of people are saying, you people do not know the backstory of how this actually happened.
My friend, you know the backstory is thanks to Interpol, this thing has been stopped. What the Drug Law Enforcement Authority is doing is running around in Manjai, getting into people's homes, putting their hand into the pockets of these poor young people to get a small box and a joint. That's so difficult to find, but they deliberately ignore the bags and containers of drugs coming into this country.
So it is true that this was not pulled off by the Drug Law Enforcement Agency?
Without a doubt, I believe 100% that if Interpol did not get involved in this thing would not have seen the headlines of this country.
And now we've seen President Barrows on his tour, which has recently ended, and he's now back to the State House. One thing I want to ask you, do you think that, because since the ending of the tour, we have seen, you know, a dramatic surge in the cases of coronavirus. Do you think Gambia has entered its second wave or no?
Well, I don't believe there was even a first wave, talk less of a second wave. I believe coronavirus exists. It mainly affecting these Caucasians, and I'm not mean that in a negative way. I think there's something peculiar about their makeup and their environment that makes them susceptible to this. I think Allah has protected us from this through our physiology. I don't know whether it's Artemisia we've been using for malaria and other vaccines, But I don't believe I never believe we had a coronavirus problem in this country. Should we be careless and reckless? No. Should our president be going on a tour after locking a country and opening it selectively to ease his own political movement and to delay the political activities of his opponents? That's completely unconscionable. It should not be done. Since the message is coming from his own ministry and his own health minister, for the past 1 month did not lift a pen in his office, he was busy politicking with him, and he comes to say the cases have increased, then it's Barrow. It's Barrow and Samate.
I bring this up because we've already seen reactions from some of the politicians just day before yesterday. My party said if the ministry is trying to, in fact, help President Barrow to bring what he describes as artificial fraudulent cases to help him lock down the country, it will not be accepted by them politicians.
And I fully endorse my party's statement. That's the right attitude to show Barrow, because Barrow has done it not once, not twice. He will lock down this country, sit down in his office comfortably eating literally $150,000 of tax money per day. When he feels he needs to go and do politics, he lifts this lockdown, goes to do the politics, comes, these cases surge again, he locks down a country again. A country that claims they have a coronavirus problem was able to let their health minister go on a tour for 1 month, only to come back and say the cases have surged again. I think my party's stance is the right stance, and I think all political parties should issue official statements to endorse my party's stance.
So for the purpose of, showing the right image to the world and to the Gambian people, do you think that the health ministry could have advised the president to hold on this nationwide tour?
Which advice can the health ministry give the president? Because from day one, Momodou Sabally said Dr. Samate does not have the capacity and the abilities to run the health ministry under this coronavirus situation. People jump to support him. What's happening now? What is he doing? Has it gotten better under Samate? What did Samate do for the past 1 month? Politic for Adama Barrow. Is that the kind of person you want to lead your health ministry under an international emergency situation? It's a bojo country.
Let's move to the case of the IEC when they came out of nowhere and said that voter registration has been postponed until further notice.
Well, I thought you were going to mention something more serious about the IEC. Look, the voter registration postponement, to be honest, I am not surprised personally. Personally, I'm not blaming Adama Barrow for it. I think this thing was an accident waiting to happen. It was in the front pages on a daily basis that there was a procurement push and pull between GPPA and IEC. Now, our problem in this country is we see important issues, we ignore them, and we talk about petty issues until disaster happens, and we all... When I heard the first politicians condemning that issue, I said, come on, where were you when this whole thing was building up? Yeah. It's a procurement issue. Procurement is an issue in this country. I don't think it is Adama Barrow's fault. I think IEC should respect the procurement rules of this country and let them not try to play games with the voter population. Because what IEC tried to do in this, what I saw was they're trying to play a game of blackmail to practically show the people it's GPPA that's delaying your voter registration. Our electoral act does not mandate GPPA to register us and take us to the polls. It's IEC, and if they don't do it, they'll be held accountable. We are not joking with 2021.
Which one was the bigger problem? The appointment
of Remy Joyner, I think that was like really one of the most bizarre cases that we've seen in the history of this country. An officially registered member of the incumbent's party to be appointed deputy head of the electoral body on the background of cabinet ministers supporting the president, standing on his platform and asking non-Gambians to come into the country and obtain our voter registration documents. I think President Barrow has marred his own image. He has dealt a very dangerous blow to the credibility of the 2021 election. But what Barrow and his cronies should know, we are not joking with this. This election will be done free and fair, or else we'll be telling a different story.
Now let's rewind back to the tour that just ended, because so many things have been said during the tour. Now, I'm not talking about the president. I'm talking about, his close associates, the cabinet ministers, and of course, one of the National Assembly members who actually called you out during one of their tour. I'm talking about National Assembly member Fatmata Jawara, when she said that she doesn't understand why people are condemning Sidi Njai. What has Sidi done in the Gambia that you, Momodou Sabally, have not? What is your response to that statement?
I don't have a response to Fatoumata Jawara. I actually pity her. I sympathize her. I sympathize with her. I think Fatoumata has gone through a lot of trauma in the past. I think she's still finding it difficult to reconcile that and to readjust to her normal senses. I'm not responding. I respect her as a National Assembly member. If she says something bad about me, hello, Momodou Sabally can't cage me. It only motivates me further. For my sister, I love you, but take it easy, man. Jaruko.
Like, how about you, Sabs? Okay, because how about Barrows single ambum gene? Barrows mune bugut lenem naler. How about that single? Huh?
Well, really, for the first time.
What do you think about that?
Barrows has brought in development in the country. Finally, President Tasu Adam Barrows record def lulu in history. I think it's good. Barrows bugut lenem. Legi na if you cocaine di lair. 35 million transfer into First Lady's account na lair. This is now a contract being job TBEA at a premium of $9 million na lair. I'm hearing some echoes from the National Assembly. If that's the path you're taking, you're gonna earn my respect. Yefi Abubakar Jawara, guns na lair. Yefi Banta Keta na lair. Barrows lu lendem si deke bi yep legi dañ buga mu lair. We agree with him. The chorus is fine. Na lair.
That's your chorus.
Yes.
Sounds like a very interesting song to me. Now, Sabs, what do you have to say to the Gambian people now that December 2021 is just around the corner?
Watch out. Watch out. Because the appointment of Remy Joyner is a signal that Barrows actually intends to mess up with the electoral process. He's not committed to free and fair elections. The fact that they reversed that appointment does not reduce anything from their intention. The intention is clear. Hamad Ba standing on a platform, other ministers asking people to come from Senegal and register. The intention is that they want to use some subterfuge or some dubious means of registering non-Gambians. So we should all be.
But what do you even think of that statement when one of his supporters stood in front of him at a rally and said that we should open the borders so people could come and vote?
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. And if silence means consent, then Barrows actually accepts it. So that's why I'm signing an alert note that all Gambians should be alert. This voter registration process should not be left with the IEC and party representatives again. We are all citizens. We have a right to question these processes. We have the right to make appeals, even at the level of the superior courts. So Gambians should watch out. Gambians should watch out for white horses also. Anywhere there is a white horse in this country, be careful. There might be some white powder. That's the message I have for Gambians.
Thank you very much, Mr. Momodou Sabally, for coming through to the Fatu Network News Review. It's always a pleasure for having you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, guys. We will go for a break, and when we return, I'll be joined by the Writers Association of the Gambia. Stay tuned.
Buy Parfum, the first perfume bar in Gambia.